the sand has run out of the hourglass for the Everblades here on this 2025 Kelly Cup playoff run. Everblades winning 4 consecutive South Division playoff titles in this streak as well. Everblades have certainly lost series before, but it's hard to believe this run is over. It was absolutely magical. Everblades haven't lost a playoff series since 2021. First round against South Carolina. 2 coaches come together there.
Welcome back, fans, to another episode of the ECHL Insider. I am your host, Garrett Hunter, and as you just saw, those were the handshakes from the Eastern Conference Finals with the three-peat defending Kelly Cup champion Florida Everblades being eliminated, their dynasty not able to run a 4th consecutive Kelly Cup. We'll dive into that more later in this episode, but let's start with the Western Conference Finals, where it was the Kansas City Mavericks and Toledo Walleye for the 2nd consecutive year. I picked this game, the Walleye, to win it, and sure enough, that is what happened. It was Toledo 4-1, finishing off the Mavericks in a Game 5 in Huntington Center. And really, like last episode, it was 2-0 Toledo, but Kansas City, we can't forget, they had a huge pushback in Game 3, a 5-2 win. Looked like the Kansas City we're used to seeing, right? A lot of good offensive chances, good saves by Jack LaFontaine. That Game 3 made me think, okay, this series is really going to flatten out now. Watch for Kansas City to tie it in Game 4, but that is definitely not what happened. It was all fish from Game 4 and Game 5 on out. It was dominance, really. And we talked about last episode, guys like Brandon Hawkins had been held in check by the Mavericks. That is exactly what they did not do in Game 5. Between Games 4 and 5, Brandon Hawkins 1 goal and 4 assists, really leading his team to the victory. And for a Walleye team that's been in the conference finals 5 consecutive postseasons, lost the last 2 seasons, this is just a huge win for them. Hundreds of standing room crowd on hand for that Game 5, just a packed building in the Huntington Center for that Game 5, a 5-2 win to finish off the series and win the Western Conference title. So really, really impressive from the Walleye. We saw their offense on display in Games 4 and 5, and they really, really dominated there to put themselves in the Kelly Cup Finals for the 3rd year out of the last 5 seasons. And finally, the Eastern Conference Finals. What a shocker it was. Yes, the Florida Everblades reign is over after losing to the Trois-Rivières Lions. Let's take you back, though. Game 3 and 4 in Trois-Rivières, Florida won and tied the series at 2 games apiece. Game 4, they dominated the Lions, 4-0 win. And man, after that Game 4, it looked like the Lions had lost all momentum. All momentum was on the Everblades side of the ice. And so then going into a Saturday afternoon puck drop, Game 5 in Trois-Rivières, Lions needed to just get the momentum back. So we'll take it to the 3rd period where it's a power play for the Lions in a 1-1 game. They score on that power play to take a lead and then get an empty net to win Game 5 3-1. So then the series 3-2 comes back to Estero, a place where the Lions won Game 1 and 2, and a place where the Everblades all season have been so dominant other than those 2 games. So didn't know really what to expect in a Game 6, but the Lions quickly showed us that they were not messing around. They didn't want to stay for the next night, Game 7. They wanted to finish it in 6 games, and that's exactly what they did. 1-0 after the first period, 2 quick goals from the Lions, back-to-back shifts in the second period made it 3-0. And then goal number 4 pops in the 3rd period, leaks between the pads of Cam Johnson. and then an empty net made it 5-0. And then with 35 seconds left, a careless pass in the offensive zone by the Everblades with the game at hand, and the Lions just completely saw it. They dart right through the defense, a breakaway, and score 6-0 win for the Lions to finish off this series. And we just have to say all the respect to the Trois-Rivières Lions. They have now done what no team has been able to do in the last 4 years, and that is eliminate the Florida Everblades. And on the other side of the ice, right, the Everblades, you can't hang your head at all at this. We have to congratulate the Everblades, actually, on what a run. The best, most dominant run this league has ever seen in their 38 seasons. Just absolutely incredible from the Florida Everblades. 3 consecutive Kelly Cups, 4 consecutive South Division titles, and 14 consecutive series wins. I mean, just absolutely incredible from head coach Brad Ralph and goaltender Cam Johnson. But it did come to an end, as you saw those handshakes at the beginning of the episode on Tuesday night. And now the Trois-Rivières Lions, they got to celebrate in Estero with the E.A. Bud Ginger Memorial Trophy, the Eastern Conference Champion Trophy, brought out on the ice and presented to their captain. Just a cool moment for them, doing it in enemy territory, and just a really, really special moment for this franchise in their first ever Eastern Conference title. What an accomplishment. Well, that brings us to the climax of the season, the Kelly Cup Finals. We started in October with the beginning of the regular season. It all leads up to this point. 29 teams and only 2 teams remain for the Kelly Cup Finals, the Toledo Walleye and the Trois-Rivières Lions. So let's just jump right in. Game 1 will be Saturday night in Toledo. Toledo, by the way, home ice advantage in this series. That's huge. Games 1 and 2 in Toledo, and 6 and 7 if necessary in Toledo, and the middle 3 in Trois-Rivières. So this will just be a really thrilling series. We got to talk about the offensive weapons for both teams. Let's talk about Trois-Rivières. Alex Bocage and Anthony Beauregard each have 14 points in the playoffs. They have been leading their team extremely well. Anthony Beauregard, a longtime Lion, I believe 3 out of 4 seasons of the Lions' existence, Beauregard's been on the team. And this Trois-Rivières roster features 24 Canadians. The entire roster is Canada-born players. Really cool to see the only ECHL Canadian team have an all-Canada roster. Ron Truls, can't give enough credit to him on the roster that he has assembled this year, and it has paid off for them in huge dividends. So that is the offensive weapons for the Lions. For the Walleye, we know them very well. Back-to-back MVP winner Brandon Hawkins, 22 points. Count them, 22 points in this playoff run for them. 5 goals, 17 assists. He has just been dynamite for the Walleye. And then he's also led with Trenton Bliss, 20 points for Bliss. He has just lit up the scoreboard this postseason, as well as Hawkins. So that duo, man, if they get put on the same line, I mean, just absolute dynamite. We'll see how Pat Mickish puts the lines together, if he keeps them the same, what we've been seeing. But these are just 2 dynamite players in the ECHL. And to see them on the same team is just incredible. Bliss and Hawkins, definitely players to watch in this series. And lastly, the goaltending of each team. The Lions are led by Luke Kavlin, who has 3 postseason shutouts this year. And for Kavlin, think about this. In 3 games in Estero, Florida, 180 minutes, he allowed just 1 goal to the Florida Everblades in 180 minutes. Just incredible. He has 3 shutouts this postseason. And then on the other side for the Walleye, Jan Bednar and Carter Guylander, a goaltending duo that has just been unstoppable, really, for the Walleye. They have been incredible, shutting down a lot of dynamic offenses. Think about the teams that they've beat. Jack Dugan and the Comets. And then coming into the Western Conference, Cade Borchert and the Kansas City Mavericks. They have shut down some elite offenses in the West, but Walleye have two very capable goalies in Bednar and Gylander. We'll see who gets the majority of the starts in this series, but it should be incredibly thrilling. And also something to note about these two teams, no team has ever won a Kelly Cup. So we will see a first-time Kelly Cup champion in the coming days. Just really special for both of these franchises. For Trois-Rivières, it is their first ever appearance in the finals. They've been in existence for only 4 seasons. This their first year winning a playoff series. They've been in the playoffs 3 times, but this is the first season they've won a playoff series, and they're all the way into the finals. For Toledo, they have dominated the Western Conference and in recent years, 5 consecutive Western Conference appearances, and now 3 Kelly Cup final appearances in those 5 years. So just incredible from these two franchises. That Toledo franchise has been wanting a Kelly Cup now for so many years. They've been so close. And then for Trois-Rivières, they've never got here before. That fan base also is just really wanting to see total victory and a Kelly Cup in their hands. So really looking forward to this. It's also USA versus Canada, Toledo, Trois-Rivières. I will be picking the Toledo Walleye to win this series. I've picked every playoff series so far, and I have a pretty good record. I'm 11-3 through these playoffs, but I'm giving the Walleye the edge on this one. I think they'll get their first ever Kelly Cup, but it will be fantastic to see. So make sure to subscribe to our channel below, and we will see you next week for a Kelly Cup Finals update.